Our project is on how bees use UV light to see. We begin by explaining the electromagnetic spectrum. The sun, earth, and other bodies radiate electromagnetic energy of varying wavelengths. The electromagnetic spectrum is a display of all electromagnetic waves arranged according to their frequency and wavelength. As shown, frequency counts the number of waves that pass by a point over a period of time, and wavelength is the distance from the peak of one wave to the peak of the next. These two attributes are inversely related. The larger the frequency, the smaller the wavelength, and vice versa. The electromagnetic waves your eyes detect, visible light, oscillates between 400 and 970 nanometers. Bees, on the other hand, see from 300 to 650 nanometers, so they can see UV light.
It's important to know how bees see this different spectrum of light. To do so, we'll have to learn a little bit about the bee's anatomy. Bees see through a specialized system made up of 5 eyes and 2 sensory antennae. These 5 eyes are separated into 3 ocelli and 2 large compound eyes. The ocelli allow for the bees to orient themselves towards the direction of the sun. While these ocelli are believed to be used primarily for orientation, they may also have some use in the detection of ultraviolet light. These eyes can gather traces of light and detect ultraviolet patterns in flowers, which allows them to detect and determine each individual flower, as they are able to see the ultraviolet patterns that differentiate one flower from another flower. The compound eyes are the most important part, however, for the detection of ultraviolet light and other colors. These compound eyes are made up of hundreds of little lenses called ommatidium, which are specialized lenses composed of photoreceptor cells that allow for the detection of blue, yellow-green, ultraviolet, and polarized light. Each of the ommatidium combine as an overall image, much like pixels combine on screens to compose an overall image. This means that bees see things like an overall mosaic.
To continue the presentation, I'm going to talk about what bees see. Bees, similar to humans, have trichromatic vision, which means they have 3 primary cones. While everything we see is a mixture of red, blue, and green, everything a bee sees is a product of green, blue, and ultraviolet. This means that the ranges of electromagnetic radiation visible to them lie between 300 and 600 nanometers, which is why they are able to see ultraviolet light, which lies between 300 and 400 nanometers. However, they are unable to see red. One important thing bees have over humans is a higher flicker rate. When you are driving in a car past a field of flowers, you see a mass of one single color. However, a bee is still able to see hundreds of individual flowers even when traveling at high speeds.
The way that bees see in ultraviolet light has huge implications on human beings' everyday lives. They have an incredible impact on the agricultural sector, especially in the United States. The USDA estimates that 80% of insect crop pollination is accomplished by bees, and in the United States, bees are worth $14.6 billion. Flowers have adapted for animals such as bees to make themselves more attractive and allow themselves a better chance of visits from pollinators. Many flowers we see as having uniform colors are marked with ultraviolet lines called nectar guides that direct the insects toward the center of the flower where the pollen or nectar is concentrated. Also, spots on flowers that seem to be black are often ultraviolet in color, which explains why bees visit flowers that are not necessarily attractive to their eyes. Using our knowledge about the ultraviolet spectrum and what colors bees are more drawn to, individual people can plant flowers that can support local bee populations. Through the research and conclusions in the field of physics, we are closer than ever to understanding the way that these useful and fascinating creatures see the world around us. With knowledge about the electromagnetic spectrum, we can now cater towards the world of bees and support their populations into the future.